You've got questions, and we've got answers. Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, answering the questions that new leaders ask us. Actually, it's our goal to help all leaders be more successful, productive, and confident. Today, we're talking about helping people accept accountability. Are you ready? Let's go. Here's the question we received. Our people are not used to being empowered to do anything. My predecessor basically did everything. How do I lead change and shift them from observers to leaders and at the same time develop and equip them to develop and train others? Well, as is often the case, you guys give us really big questions. So I have to carve out a piece. And the piece I want to carve out is, how do I get people to be more accountable? How do I get people to be more empowered? Well, if we look at the question, we know a couple things. There's two things we're going to have to change if we're going to have any shot at this. We have to change both the expectations of people and we have to change the habits of people. Okay? And you got to change the expectations before you can change the habits. And you've got lots of experiences in your life that might have nothing to do with work where you can think about that. Like if you want to make a change, there's an expectation change that has to come first before you can change the habit. And of course, we know changing habits is hard, right? So let's think about your people in this situation. They've been able to sit there and do nothing. Well, there's a bunch of stuff that you want them to do that your predecessor did for them. And so why would they want to take it on? If we'd be a little bit cynical, as human beings, we're kind of lazy. So we're like, no, life is good. So now you're going to ask them to redefine their work, and you're going to ask them to do some stuff they've never had to do before, and they got no dissatisfaction about any of that. So we got to get over that. So we're going to talk about two things again, expectations and then habits. Let's start with the expectations. First thing is you got to set clear expectations for both behavior and results. So if there are things that your predecessor did for people that you really want them to do, you got to say as a clear expectation, like this is part of the job. But we never had to do that before. You know what? This is part of the job. So you've got to work through and be very clear about what you are now expecting them to do. Because until you have that, you got no chance, right? So you got to set clear expectations. You want to try to do everything you can to make sure that you explain them clearly. Then you need to answer their questions. That doesn't just mean walk through it and say, so does that make sense? And they'd say, yes, boss. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about setting clear expectations that are mutually understood, which means you've got to ask them what they're thinking and you got to answer the questions that they have so that you really have clarity and you really have understanding that you're really serious and you really do want them to do this that they didn't do before. And they need to know exactly what this is. And then they need to know why you want them to do it. So you got to talk about the why. So the why is critically important because they're saying I've been very happy with the way it's been before. Why is it going to be different? Well, it's going to be different because, and you may have business reasons. It's going to be different because, and you may have personal reasons for them that talk about how this will benefit them in terms of developing them, prepare them for their next job, et cetera, et cetera. You got to talk about why. Not just here's what I want you to do now, but here's why, here's the benefits involved in that, et cetera. So you got to do those three things. They've got to be really clear before you have any chance. And then you have to recognize that now they've not been doing it and now you're going to ask them to do it, so they got to change their habit. Ever try to change a habit? How easy was that? Not so easy, right? So now you can't control it. They got to change it. So 4 things for you here. Number 1, provide feedback. Especially provide feedback when you see the effort that they're making to change it. Yeah, you want to provide correction if they're not doing it or if they're not doing it perfectly well. But also make sure you're providing feedback and encouragement for the progress that they're making, for the efforts that they're trying, for them remembering to do it because they've never had to do it before, right? So provide feedback. Next is provide training. They may training, big T training or little t training. They may need some help. They may need some new skills. They may need some coaching. They may need some learning of some sort to help them do this new thing successfully. After all, they've never had to do it before. Their boss did it, right? So there may be some training involved. Provide that as required. Third, be patient. Refer back to it's hard to change a habit. That you're not going to get it right away. They're not going to get it right away. Be a little bit patient with them. And then number 4, think long term. Being patient means that you have to think about this is going to change over time. You want to get them moving in the right direction. You want to create momentum. You want to do all those things, and know that it's going to take a while until they're really there. That's okay. You're in it for the long haul with them. You're in it for the long haul all the way around. So think long term. You got people that haven't had to do a job before, and now you're asking them to do it. It's like asking a kid to start taking out the trash when they've never had to do it before. If you think about it, you can demand it of your kid, but you can't demand it of these folks, really, not there without there being unintended consequences. There's going to be unintended consequences with the kid too, right? So make sure the expectations are clear, answer their questions, all of the things we talked about, provide the feedback, both positive and encouraging. Do all those things, you get a much better chance of getting people to move to that place of being empowered to do the work that you really need them to be doing. That leads us to today's tweet. If you want people to change their behavior, they need to know what the change is and why it is important. Well, I hope my answer to this question today was helpful. It was an important question. And there's a lot of resources on this site that can help you as a new leader or to help the new leaders in your organization be more successful. Lots of free stuff here. A lot of videos like this and a lot of other stuff on this blog and other things. I hope you'll take advantage of all of it. I really do. Now, we have some free things we have some things you can pay us for. And we'd love for you to take advantage of those too. And we want to make sure that you know that we're here for the long haul to help you be successful, however we can serve you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
New leaders encounter many difficult and often uncomfortable challenges and changes during their initial transition to leadership. Perhaps it's two employees who are constantly bickering and it's starting to affect their work. As their coworker, maybe you could ignore it, but now you're their supervisor. Or maybe a new direct report has way more experience than you do and is pushing back on some of your task assignment and delegation attempts. Or perhaps there are supervisory responsibilities that you just don't know how to handle. Making the transition to leadership is one of the most challenging life events we'll ever face. And while there's no doubt that this transition is extremely challenging, there are solutions that can help ease the stress and set you up for success now and in the future. Bud to Boss is a powerful and interactive workshop for new supervisors who want to grow their leadership skills fast. In just 2 days, you will learn how to expertly handle all of your new challenges, including how do I get a better understanding of my new role and responsibilities? How do I gain respect, trust, and credibility in my new role? What is the best way to communicate about difficult issues? How do I really lead a team? How do I do performance reviews? How can I manage my time and juggle an ever-changing list of priorities? How do I communicate with new peers that have way more experience than I do? What's the best way to delegate effectively? And lots more. Don't risk your career by stumbling along at the start, learning through trial and error. Get the essential management and leadership techniques and strategies you need to succeed with the Bud to Boss workshop. Click on the button below to learn more. The skills you need to succeed are one click away.